Welcome back, everybody, to another video. Today we are back for another episode predicting whatever NFL's team upcoming 2021 and 2022 season. And so today we are on to the AFC West. We are almost done with the AFC as a whole, actually. So we are on to the AFC West with the Denver Broncos. And so before I get into anything else, I would like to say thank you guys for all the support on this series because, like I've said before, going into this, I'm not sure how much you guys want to see these. But you guys have really seemed to like them, so I'm going to do one for every team and actually make this a regular on my channel. I'm going to do Madden and NFL football throughout the year, all different kinds of videos like that. I have a ton of ideas lined up and everything. So this is not going away anytime soon. So really, if you guys like football, whether that be video games or NFL, I do both. So be sure to hit the subscribe button because we are also, I think, 14 away from 100, so we are so close. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of my videos. Alright guys, so the Broncos got last in the AFC West. They are 5-11, and then I believe it's the Chargers at 7-9, and Raiders at, I don't think, much better than that, and the Chiefs that, obviously were really, really good. So as for the Broncos, this is going to be an interesting video. I've already been, kind of going through stuff before filming, of course. So either way, Drew Lock, he was okay. He had 100 passing yards, and he has 16 touchdowns. But 15 interceptions, and personally, I had not realized he did that bad. I really did not know that. I thought he was just kind of solid, but the Broncos as a whole weren't that good. But actually, I think Locke is the problem, and we're going to talk about that. But also, if you guys are new to these videos, I do recap 2020 pretty quickly over certain players and the team as a whole, and then I go back to the top and I predict all the players and the team as a whole for this coming year. So we'll talk more about the quarterback issue when I go back and predict more. But Drew Lock, as of 2020, did not have a good year. 16 touchdowns and 15 interceptions on 2,900 passing yards is just not a good year. But Broncos fans, don't hate me yet because you guys did actually have, honestly, a lot of upsides. Melvin Ingram had 1,144 yards from scrimmage. 986 of that was rushing with 9 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown. That is a pretty good year for a running back right there. Melvin Gordon, that was a good year. I didn't realize he did that well at all. So honestly, I'm glad I got to see that because much respect to him. He was a huge part of this offense. And Philip Lindsay did okay as well, but he's not even on the team anymore, I don't believe. I think he's on the Texans, so rest in peace to his career there. They did have KJ Hamlin, who also did really, really well. He did have 421 yards from scrimmage, and only 40 of that was receiving, and 380 of that, or only 40 of that was rushing, 381 of that was receiving. I got confused there for a second. But he also had a pretty solid year. He had 3 receiving touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. That's not bad, honestly. I believe he was a rookie last year, so that's not a terrible year at all for a young receiver, especially on the Broncos with kind of, Drew Lock throwing him the ball. Jerry Judy also had a great year. He had 856 yards from scrimmage, which all of that was receiving, and he had 3 touchdowns to go along with that. Tim Patrick had 742 yards from scrimmage. All of that was receiving, and I believe he had 6 touchdowns. Nope. Yeah, 6 touchdowns to go along with that. Check just in case. Yeah. So, great year from him as well. And what I've honestly realized while looking at this is that the Broncos have a lot of good targets, actually. Like, Tim Patrick is very good. Jerry Judy, very good. KJ Hamler, I think he will be very good. Noah Fant, he had 673 yards from scrimmage. All of that was receiving, of course, with 3 touchdowns. Like, they have some very solid targets, actually. And we're going to get into that quarterback situation because, honestly, if they had, just honestly an average quarterback, I can't think of an average quarterback off the top of my head, but like that, they have some good players. They have a bright future if they're able to get the right pieces, and I think a big part of that problem is the quarterback. And as the defense goes, it wasn't anything special, but also I've seen much worse as well. Interception leader for the team was Justin Simmons, who had 5 at free safety, which is pretty good. Kareem Jackson had 1, Bryce Callahan had 2, Deshaun Williams had 1, and I don't even know how to say that name. He also had 1. Asang Basie. But honestly, a pretty good year for them as well. The whole defense, really, because even D-line, Malik Reed had 8 sacks and 17 QB hits, and Bradley Chubb had 7.5 sacks on 19 QB hits. And they also had Draymond Jones. I was like, what? Draymond Jones, who had 11 QB hits, and he did have 6.5 sacks. And then they also had Shelby Harris with 11 QB hits and 2.5 sacks. So D-line honestly did pretty well. Secondary did well too, although I think the biggest problem was corner, which they actually addressed in getting Patrick Surtain the second. So it's a good pick, honestly. That's a good draft pick, I think. That's a big team need. I know they stole him from the Cowboys, so I think we're also going to select them, but I think Broncos got a good one with Patrick Surtain. So now that I've kind of quickly recapped all of 2020, we're going to go back to the top and go back down, talk about this next coming year, and that's when I'm talking more about the quarterback situation and the rookies, the upcoming rookies. So like I said, was 2020 a good year for the Broncos? No. I mean, you were 5-11. Just to sum it up, no. But you had a lot of good parts to the year. A lot of good players, I think, will have bright futures. You just have to get rid of those things holding you back. And speaking things holding you back, Drew Lock, quarterback. I think that this year, I can see you guys using him again and seeing how it goes. But if this year, if he does as bad or worse than this past year, it's time for a new QB. It just is. You guys got Teddy Bridgewater from the Panthers, and obviously as a Panthers fan, I've made a ton of jokes about Bridgewater because of how horrible he was on the team. But the year prior on the Saints, Bridgewater, I think, started 5 games while Drew Brees was out, and he won all 5 of those games. So I don't think Teddy is as bad as everybody makes him seem. I think the Panthers were a completely different system than the Saints, and he worked better than the Saints system than the Panthers. And that's why it just didn't work out in the long run for him on Carolina. But the Broncos, do they have more of a system similar to the Broncos or to the Saints than the Panthers? Possibly. I'm not really sure. But that's why I think that it is trying to keep open mind, basically, if you're a Broncos fan, or really just in general, with Teddy Bridgewater on this team. Because I do think that he is better than Drew Lock. I think if this is the right system for him, I think he's honestly going to be a very solid quarterback. And considering the targets you have, you can honestly have a pretty good year. But what's hard for me to predict about this coming year is that I don't know what the Broncos are going to do about the Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater situation. I'm not sure if they are really committed to Drew Lock and they're like, this is our guy, he's going to improve, he's going to get better. Or if they're kind of like, let's give Teddy a try. Let's put Teddy in there. So I am not going to predict Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater because I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I can't predict the future. So I always predict as if the player plays all 16 games, and this is very similar to what I did with the Patriots video, where with Cam Newton and Mac Jones, I don't feel as if Drew Lock is going to play all 16 games, and I don't feel as if Teddy Bridgewater will play all 16 games. I don't think that's realistic at all. So I'm not going to predict, because if I do predict, Drew Lock playing 16 games, and he gets taken out week 2, it's just kind of a waste of a prediction. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a waste of even me getting that information out to you guys, because it's completely useless if he's not playing the rest of the year. So I think I will say this. If Drew Lock plays this year, I think he will have a bad year up until Teddy Bridgewater comes in. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have an MVP year by any means, but I think he will be better than Drew Lock, if that makes sense. So I still think you guys should definitely target a quarterback, whether that be next draft or next offseason or whatever. But I think this year, if you want to just have a better year than this past year, I think Teddy Bridgewater is the answer at quarterback. But I know people are going to disagree with me about that, so let me know down below whether you'd rather Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater on the Broncos. Who do you think will perform better? So now that we got that part out of the way as far as passing goes, it's on to the brighter part, honestly, which is rushing and receiving. Melvin Gordon, I honestly didn't realize had that great of a year, and he played 15 of the games. So I'm going to say, I don't know if he'll get as many as last year, but I do say over 1,000 yards again for sure. He had 9 rushing touchdowns. Let's say 13. Let's see if he can get 13 rushing touchdowns this next year and 2 receiving touchdowns. So I'm thinking less with yards because I think he's going to be putting more on the goal line. But then again, actually I might take that back because Lindsey's gone. I was thinking Lindsey was still there. So actually, scratch that. Forget what I just said. Let's say Melvin Gordon gets around 1,300 yards from scrimmage. Not half and half rushing and receiving, but I think it will be distributed a bit more than this past year. Maybe a receiving touchdown, but we will say like 12 or 13 rushing touchdowns. I think Melvin Gordon can get in that end zone a lot. Even if it is just from the 1-yard line, I think he's going to be a huge red zone scorer for them. And speaking of a red zone target, I'm also going to predict Jerry Judy, who had honestly, I think, a very impressive rookie year. I think, like I said, Drew Lock throwing the ball, I think he had a pretty good year. With that, I lost him. 856 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. We're going to say he gets over 1,000 receiving yards and he gets 5 touchdowns next year. I'm not sure how much over 1,000 he'll get, whether it's even by 100, but I do see him getting over 1,000 receiving yards with a couple more touchdowns in there as well. And then for defense, I'm going to predict Patrick Surtain, because I think that's much more exciting. Predicting a rookie coming in that's, I think, honestly going to see a lot of playing time, especially on this defense that really needs a solid corner. So as far as tackles go from a corner, I'm not really sure for Patrick Surtain, but I'm going to say he is going to have 3 interceptions in his rookie year. Might be a stretch, but I have big expectations for him, because I think he's going to be a big piece of this defense. I think he's going to be thrown right in there and being like, you gotta help. Like we need you on the field. So I'm going to say 3 interceptions for Patrick Surtain. And going on to the defensive line, I'm not really sure who to predict there. I guess I'll go with Bradley Chubb, who had 19 QB hits and 7.5 sacks. We're going to say over 10 sacks with about 25 QB hits. I think he's going to get to the quarterback a lot next year because he did only play 14 games, so I think had he played 2 more, that number could be increased by a little bit. So that's why I'm saying 10 sacks and about 25 QB hits. So this season as a whole, because once again I say it's almost every video for these young teams that are looking to improve a lot, I'm not predicting 5 years down the road. 5 years down the road, I think the Broncos are going to be a bit of a threat in the AFC. As long as they play their cards right and get the players they need to kind of form around these young guys, I think they're going to be a big threat. But I'm not predicting that. I'm predicting next year. Next year, I don't think they have all their pieces. I think next year they're going to realize what they need to get out. And I think the year after that, they're going to realize what players they have to get in. And I think that the year after that, they're going to have to get more comfortable with those guys, make a few more changes. And then by the 4th or 5th year, I think they'll have some good chemistry and really be, honestly, a pretty good team in the AFC. But for this coming year, if Drew Lock is playing majority of the year, I'm saying probably like this year. Like maybe 4 wins. So 4-13 because we're playing 17 games. So 4-13 if Drew Lock plays the majority of the year. For Teddy, I don't think much better. I think he can maybe get 2 or 3 more wins for him, but I think they're still going to finish last in the AFC. I still think they need to address the quarterback situation. But, I mean, I think really the bright side is that you have a lot of key players on offense. You just need that quarterback figured out to help get them the ball because you got some playmakers. Like, you have guys that can really catch the ball and make plays with it and get in the end zone. You just need the guy to get the ball there. So I think that's the big problem with the Broncos. And whether that's maybe Teddy Bridgewater is a huge fit there and he can be there for the next 5 years and really be the guy they need. Like, that'd be great. I just don't see it being Drew Lock. So that is going to do it for the video, guys. Let me know down below if you think I am right as far as the Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater thing. So let me know who you want, or not, I guess not who you want, but who you think the Broncos should start at quarterback, whether that be Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, or maybe you think they should target another quarterback, or maybe make a trade, maybe free agency next year, draft, anything like that. So comment down below what you guys think the Broncos will finish with, or quarterback, or anything at all. Guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button to never miss any of my videos because it is all football on this channel. 14 away from 100, so make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of my videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.